Expose evil here. Like, share, subscribe. Today I'm doing a video about mind control and is linked to Satanism.
Since 1953, the government has been conducting a top-secret mind control program to create super soldiers. These sleeper agents live among us, waiting to be activated. They could be your friend, your family, or the person you least expect.
This is from Program to Kill, The Politics of Serial Murder by David McCowan. 77, Chapter 8. A U.S. Navy psychologist claims that the Office of Naval Intelligence had taken convicted murderers from military prisons, used behavior modification techniques on them, and then relocated them in American embassies throughout the world. The Navy psychologist was LT Commander Thomas Nerut of the U.S. Regional Medical Center in Naples, Italy. The information was divulged at an Oslo NATO conference of 120 psychologists from the 11-Nation Alliance. The Navy provided all the funding necessary, according to Nerut. Dr. Nerut, in a question-and-answer session with reporters from many nations, revealed how the Navy was secretly programming large number of assassins.
When you were arrested when you were 18 for the acid, that was when we first met. I was recruiting people for a program called Wise Man, which was basically designed to take third strike misdemeanor offenders and offer them the opportunity to volunteer.
Volunteer for what?
To be an experiment.
So you erased my memories, and you fucked with my head, and you left me here with a fake girlfriend.
It's not gonna make any sense right now.
What is going on? What's going on?
I'm your handler. I was assigned to you 5 years ago. And I'm
A handler?
please understand. I'm CIA, okay? But
You're what?
listen to me.
You're what?
It's okay. I've been trying to tell you this for so fucking long.
Are you not my girlfriend?
Of course I'm your girlfriend, babe. That's what I'm telling you. No.
Oh, please stop it. No, I can't even look at you. No, I got
Page 78. The intelligence community, it seemed, was recruiting from prisons to make use of the natural talents of convicted killers to produce the fabled Manchurian candidates, otherwise known as mind control assassins. The operation described by Nerut involved killers drawn from military prisons, though there is a good possibility that parallel programs were being conducted in civilian prisons as well. Prisons, after all, have provided a fertile ground for any number of MK Ultra sub-projects for decades, as the Napa Sentinel article noted. Mind control experiments permeate mental institutions and prisons. That was particularly true in the 1960s and 1970s.
I didn't kill anyone.
Good morning. I'm not gonna hurt you.
What is this?
You're not in prison anymore. The world thinks you're dead. Suicide. We've decided to give you another chance. This is where you'll train. This is where you'll learn. After 2 years, if everything goes well, you'll work for us.
Here is an actual mind control document recorded in the book The CIA Doctors by Dr. Colin Ross, a document entitled Hypnotic Experimentation and Research, 10 February 1954, describes a simulation experiment of relevance to the creation of Manchurian candidate assassins. Miss Blank was then instructed, having previously expressed a fear for firearms in any fashion, that she would use every method at her disposal to awaken Miss Blank, now in a deep hypnotic sleep, and failing in this, she would pick up the pistol nearby and fire at Miss Blank. She was instructed that her rage would be so great that she would not hesitate to kill Blank for failing to awaken. Miss Blank carried out these suggestions to the letter, including firing the unloaded pneumatic pistol gun at Blank, and then proceeding to fall into a deep sleep after proper suggestions were made. Both are awakened and express complete amnesia for the entire sequence. Miss Blank was again handed the gun, which she refused in an awakened state to pick up or accept from the operator. She expressed absolute denial that the foregoing sequence had happened. Page 62, Program to Kill. And here's a series of memos that were written by U.S. Customs Service Special Agent Raman J. Martinez. In the officer's own words, this is what he observed while participating in the investigation. On Thursday, February 5th, 1987, this office was contacted via telephone by Sergeant Joanne Van Meter of the Tallahassee Police Department Juvenile Division. Sergeant Van Meter requested assistance in identifying 2 males and 6 minor children ages 7 years to 2 years. The adult males were tentatively identified by TPD as Michael Houlihan and Douglas Ammerman, both of Washington, D.C., who were arrested the previous day on charges of child abuse. 63. U.S. Customs was contacted because the police officers involved suspected the adults of being involved in child pornography and knew the Customs Service to have a network of child pornography investigators in the existence of Child Pornography and Protection Unit (SSA). Critolo stated that the two adults were well-dressed white males. They had custody of 6 white children, boys and girls ages 3 to 6 years. The children were observed to be poorly dressed, bruised, dirty, and behaving like wild animals in a public park in Tallahassee. SSA Critlow was further advised that the children were unaware of the function and purpose of telephones, televisions, and toilets, and that the children had stated that they are not allowed to live indoors and were only given food as a reward. Upon contacting Detective Bradley, I learned that he had initiated an investigation on the two addresses provided by the Tallahassee Police Department during the December 1986. An informant had given him information regarding a cult known as the Finders, operating various businesses out of a warehouse located in 1307 4th Street Northeast, and were supposed to be housing children at 3918, 3920 West Street Northwest. The information was specific in describing blood rituals and sexual orgies involving children, and in as yet unsolved murder in which the finders may be involved.
They start with severe torture of a very young child, usually in the range of 2 to 3 years old. The strategy is to make them highly dissociative and divide the mind so that they purposefully create multiple personalities.
By abusing the child splits into several personalities.
Yes.
How widespread are we talking?
At least tens of thousands of victims, probably hundreds of thousands.
What's the difference between this kind of program and cult type abuse and satanic abuse and the kind of cults with the candles and the kind of...
This type of programming will be done in the cults with candles and all of the rest. My impression is this is simply done in people where they have great access to them, or their bloodline and their parents are in it, where they can be raised in it from an early age. If they're bloodline, they are the chosen generation. If not, they are expendable, and they are expected to die and not get well. And there will be booby traps in your way if they're non-bloodline people, that when they get well, they will kill themselves. And I'll tell you just a little about that. But my belief is that some people that have ritual abuse and don't have this have been ritually abused, but they may be part of a non-mainstream group. The Satanism comes in the overall philosophy overriding all of this. People say, what's the purpose of it? My best guess is that the purpose of it is that they want an army of Manchurian candidates. Tens of thousands of mental robots who will do prostitution, do child pornography, smuggle drugs, engage in international arms smuggling, do snuff films, all sorts of very lucrative things, and do their bidding. And eventually, the megalomaniacs at the top believe, create a satanic order that will rule the world.
I was created by a government program.
Which government program?
Monarch.
And what is Monarch?
Monarch is an operation that was created by the United States government to create spies for other countries. They use children for the purpose that they are easily integrated into multiple personalities because they can dissociate. Monarch is a program that is run by Michael Angelo Aquino.
Program to Kill, page 39. They said, I cannot accept promotion in a system that at first refused to acknowledge and now refuses to deal with the victims of extensive child abuse that occurred at the West Point Child Development Center. Army Captain Walter R. Grote refusing a promotion to Major in June 1985. One of the names that surfaced at the Bonacci trial was that of Michael Aquino, the high priest and chief executive of the Temple of Set, an overtly satanic cult that split off from the Church of Satan in 1975. Besides tending to those duties, Aquino has also been known to occupy his time serving as, according to his official biography circulated by the Temple, a lieutenant colonel, military intelligence, U.S. Army. Aquino was identified in court by the mother of a victim as being a key player in a nationwide pedophile ring. Paul Bonacci himself has also positively identified Aquino as an associate of King, that's Larry King, who was known to Bonacci and the rest of the children only as Colonel. Page 40. This was certainly not the first time that Aquino had been identified as a key figure in an organized pedophile child pornography ring. In July 1988, not long before the King and Spence cases broke, and San Jose Mercury News ran a lengthy expose on the Presidio Child Development Center run by the U.S. Army in San Francisco. Page 41. One of those who the fathers would have liked to blow away was Michael Aquino. One child positively identified Aquino and his wife Lilith, known to the kids as Mikey and Shambi, and was also able to identify the Aquino's private home and to describe with considerable accuracy the distinctively satanic interior decor of the house. The young witness claimed to have been photographed at the Aquino's home. On August 14, 1987, a search warrant was served on the house. Confiscated in the raid were numerous videotapes, photographs, photo albums, photo negatives, cassette tapes, and name and address books. Also observed was what appeared to be a soundproof room. Neither of the Aquinos was charged with any crimes, nor have they been to this day, a fact that Aquino points to as proof of his innocence.
Satanism may be a constitutionally protected religion, but similar to another recent case at the United States Military Academy at West Point, here charges surface connecting ritual child abuse at the Presidio Daycare Center to the devil cult. It was here, parents and others allege, that as many as 60 young children were ritualistically abused by soldiers of Satan. What actually was done to the kids?
Oral copulation, sodomy, defecation, they were urinated on.
The former chief juvenile investigator at the Presidio, Ed Abanofsky, is here. He's now a deputy sheriff in Santa Clara County. Colonel Aquino, we note, sir, for the record, that you were originally implicated in the dreadful charges of child abuse. We note also that no charges were ever brought against you, and presumably you have been cleared. Would you like to comment on why those charges were brought against you?
Well, the entire time that the so-called child molestation scandal was occurring at the Presidio, the time period when these terrible events were supposedly taking place, I was assigned to the National Defense University in Washington, D.C., and my wife was out there living with me.
But is it not a fact that a 3.5-year-old girl identified you as the alleged perpetrator of molestation?
No, as a matter of fact, it is not the case. An accusation was made by her stepfather, who was an Army chaplain, speaking on behalf of this child. In her original interview with the FBI, she denied ever being molested.
Well, I've seen you are innocent until proven guilty. You were never charged in this case. I don't want to belabor the point. I have seen, however, the affidavits for the search warrant of your home, and they indicate the child is speaking to the authorities, not her father.
This was after she had been subjected to therapy.
This next clip, it shows a group of children who have been mind-controlled since birth, now being released into society. And then 20 years later, showing how one of them infiltrated a governmental agency.
Наш отец решил, что время пришло начать вам новую жизнь и подготовиться к нашей очередной атаке.
KA-12. KA. Cold War legend. Highly trained Russian sleeper agents inserted into American society to sabotage and assassinate. Supposedly they'd wait years to strike, decades even.
Supposedly.
What's the matter, Ted? You don't believe in moles?
Oh, I believe in moles, all right. Just not the boogeyman. Especially if the plan is to kill their own president. This guy's selling smoke. Wrap it up, Ev.
So a Russian agent is going to kill the Russian president. Is that it? Okay. Thank you very much. And what would you like in return for that information?
I simply wish to help you do what you need to do.
You're good. The KA program is brilliant bullshit. But I'm officially off duty, so you can tell the rest of your little story to one of my colleagues.
Salt.
Yes.
The name of the Russian agent is Salt. Evelyn Salt.
My name is Evelyn Salt.
Then you are a Russian spy.
Truthful. So far, the fMRI scan registers true.
Just tell me. Just tell me, sweetheart. What do you want?
Paupières dans l'ouïe.
You have something for us, sweetie? Oh, may I see it?
CIA set up a number of fronts, respectable foundations like the Human Ecology Fund. Sounds innocent enough, but it was run by the CIA's brainwashing experts. Here at McGill University in Montreal, the fund found 3 projects worth financing. They supported an extensive study of witch doctors in Nigeria. How, investigators wondered, did native healers cure mental illness? What mysterious drugs and potions did they use?
Device used to bind up excited patients. A sleeping potion is then administered.
20 years ago, the Human Ecology Fund paid for this movie.
This soothes the patient's head.
But it was only recently that the man who made the film found out that he had been working with the CIA's money. The author of the Nigerian study is still at McGill University. News of his connection to the CIA came as quite a surprise to Dr. Raymond Prince.
I couldn't imagine why the CIA would be interested in my work in looking at indigenous healers in West Africa.
Let's suppose that this whole front row here are multiples. And that she has an alter named Helen, she has one named Mary, she has one named Gertrude, she has one named Elizabeth, and she has one named Monica. Every one of those altars may have put on it a program, perhaps designated Alpha 009. A cult person could say Alpha 009 or make some kind of hand gesture to indicate this and get the same part out in any one of them, even though they had different names that they may be known by to you.
So what Dr. Corey Dunhandle was saying is that mind control victims have certain codes that they need to activate their programming or to access certain information that they have in their several personalities. As we're going to see here with Paul Bonacci and his personality as Wesley Lee, his Lord John DeCamp is going to give him a code so he can answer this classified information. Then it's followed by a movie that's showing you a handler giving a code to their assassin to activate the programming.
I cannot get that information under direct orders.
Orders by whom?
I can't say.
Mr. DeCamp, would you please instruct your client when he has to answer these questions?
Yes. You're supposed to answer these questions. Does this have to do with Monarch?
Yes.
If I use the code, will that help? Which I just obtained in the last hour. D6413782, program XPY Eagle Alex Hope. Please go ahead and answer all questions.
Listen, Mandelbrot set is in motion. Echo Choir has been breached. We are fielding the ball. Is that a lyric from something? Fuck. No. Chariot progressive. Listen. Okay. Mandelbrot set is in motion.
Man, are you gonna get something?
Chariot progressive, Mike.
Lady, could you please, stop it? What?
Chariot progressive.
Are you okay?
Listen. Mandelbrot set is in motion. Echo Choir has breached. We are fielding in motion. Chariot progressive. Chariot progressive. Listen. Chariot progressive is in motion. Mike, please.
All right, lady, enough of that.
You have to
stuff. Okay, I gotta close up soon. So.
Now that she activated his programming, all his training kicks in, and take note that he uses a spoon to defend himself.
Hey, stop doing shit to my car.
If you're wondering why you didn't see the spoon, this is because it was in the blacked out part of the scene.
Agent Hell has been activated. He killed 2 operatives with a spoon. A spoon? What?
But he did kill one of the guys with a spoon. Alright? So this is page 100, Program to Kill. And that's significant because it says right here, and we're talking about Richard Ramirez, a serial killer, and Henry Lee Lucas, the other serial killer. It says, though not readily apparent, almost all of the weapons used for inflicting death by both Lucas and Ramirez had one thing in common. They are what are termed weapons of opportunity. In other words, they are weapons that were acquired at the crime scene immediately before the murders were committed. Notably, this precisely mirrors the means by which the CIA has historically taught its assassins to kill. A CIA training manual entitled A Study of Assassination advises that the would-be killer, the simplest local tools are often the most efficient means of assassination. A hammer, an axe, wrench, screwdriver, fire poker, kitchen knife, lamp stand, or anything hard, heavy, and handy will suffice. All such improvised weapons have the important advantage of availability and apparent innocence. The assassin may accidentally be searched before the act and should not carry an incriminating device if any sort of lethal weapon can be improvised at or near the site. This is the advice been taken to heart by a good number of serial killers. Continuing on page 100, the Mafia assassination service known as Murder Inc., the brainchild of the Lansky-Luciano syndicate, which had extensive connections to U.S. intelligence agencies, had a remarkably similar philosophy, as J. Robert Nash notes in Blood Letters and Bad Men. Like most of Murder Inc.'s assassinations, Pittsburgh Phil never carried a weapon in case the local police picked him up on suspicion. He would cast about once he had selected his murder spot for any tool handy that would do the job. It should probably be noted here, while we're on the subject, that the man identified as Pittsburgh Phil, whose real name was Harry Strauss, was credited with killing at least 500 people in this manner from the late 1920s through 1940s. This feat should put him at or near the top of any self-respecting serial killer list.